Yo, what up? We back. You feel me? Got another video. This time it's a football video. You know what I'm saying? In the title it say, you know what I'm saying? Self-explanatory. The biggest Heisman snub in college football history. You know what I'm saying? The reason why I wanted to watch this video specifically is it's about my team. You feel me? It's
what everybody remembers about the 2022 season
my boys
is how
not the Cowboys, but
while technically
TCU,
there was a half
baby.
of football left, the national championship
I ain't gonna lie though. This year, this game right here, had to turn that shit off. I ain't gonna cap. I just had to turn it off. I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I just had to turn it off, bro. I ain't gonna lie. We took a fast L that day. It is what it is, though. We made it there. That's all that matters. You feel what I'm saying? That's all that matters. We made it there. You feel me? And hey,
fell over
you know
when the teams walked out the locker room for the first time that game. Talking heads reopened questions of did TCU even deserve to be here. Alabama felt their snub and talked about how they should have been able to compete in the playoffs. But
I miss the old jerseys, bro. They gotta bring back them jerseys with the spikes, bro. They got them weak ass, the plain jerseys now, bro. They don't even hit the same, bro. They don't even hit the same, bro. They got rid of like literally the best jerseys in college football. Argue with your mama. No bullshit.
It was a season that would soon become lost to time.
Crazy, bro. Look at them
One
spikes,
of the
bro.
grittiest, toughest, and most amazing seasons of football to watch.
Crazy,
and
bro.
that was of quarterback Max Duggan.
Yeah, my boy. Shout out Max. Yes, Sirski. I'm talking about we were putting belts to these dudes, man. No cap.
Johnson can barely make it to the sideline. He's pushing away. Teammates are trying to congratulate him.
To give some proper context, Duggan and this TCU team came into 2022 with just about as low expectations as you could have. You see, last year was a complete mess. The team started off 1-4 in conference play, only beating Texas Tech and resulting in the head coach, who had been there forever, being fired, as well as Max Duggan being benched in the back half of the Kansas State game after only putting up 3 points in 3 quarters. And his backup would come in and actually be able to move the ball, and heck, the following week he would go absolutely berserk, dicing the Bears' defense to the tune of 461 yards and 30 points for the very unexpected upset with a new head coach. But they would quickly come back down to earth after getting blown out by Oklahoma State the following week, and Duggan would get some time back in the driver's seat as they end the season 5-7, heads hung low, and Chandler Morris still being the starter. You see, Duggan, he could have left here. He could have gone to greener pastures. He could have found a new home. But what I and everybody else is going to come to love about this guy is that he is no quitter. In fact, he might just be one of the toughest quarterbacks college football has ever seen. In 2020, he had to go a 9-hour heart surgery that was then followed up by him getting clots, requiring a second emergency surgery weeks before their opener. And he was expecting not to play, but would come in off the bench in the second half to lead the team almost to a comeback win, falling just short after throwing for 3 touchdowns. That's how he got the starting job, which is why in 2021, it was such a heartbreak to see him lose it, especially when you know that he had been toughing out the entire season on the back of a torn ligament in his foot. So to come into 2022 and still not have the starting job, hurt to see. But just like that 2020 season, Chandler Morris would go down at the end of the third, and Duggan would take back over.
Hey, Max Duggan has checked in now.
From there, it was his time to shine. Tarleton State would fall as he diced up his FCS opponent 59-17. Then, against Southern Methodist, we'd get the theme of how hard this team would have to work for every single win. I mean, SMU, not a particularly strong team this year, would be a dogfight after TCU took a big first half lead. SMU almost fought their way entirely back, needing a failed onside kick to be able to pull off this win. Then, they'd have to take on number 18 ranked Oklahoma, where we would see the powerhouse of this team come alive. Kendre Miller and Amari DeMarcado were forces to be reckoned with out of the backfield, with their first touchdown showing the identity of the passing game, which was just throwing it up and going to fight and win for the ball. This game would be a complete and total rout, though. Oklahoma seemed to have no answer defensively and were doing spin-outs in the backfield on offense, while Duggan was going to do everything, as well as get a huge 67-yard run in the midst of it all to absolutely dominate the Sooners. And while this would lunge Duggan and the Horned Frogs onto the national stage, jumping all the way to number 17 in the rankings, it would be a while before they'd get an easy game again. They would then have to go to Kansas, who was currently 5-0, and take it to the mud, where Duggan would throw for 309 yards and 3 touchdowns to lead them to a 1-score victory, as he was doing everything in his power and taking a beating to drag the Frogs to victory. They'd then immediately have a number-ranked Oklahoma State come to their house, where they would wipe the blood from their last fight off their brow and go back to work, climbing back from a 14-point deficit at the end of the half to take them to overtime, where Duggan would find Johnson to keep them in it, and their defense held them to a field goal in overtime too, where a big Duncan run on 2nd and 11 would put them in position.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. We was balling this year, boy. I ain't even gonna lie to you. What? I'm talking about I was tuned in to every game. We was going crazy this year. Like nobody could fuck with us this year, bro. Stop playing, bro.
Come on, break the Cowboys.
Stop playing.
It wouldn't end here, because they now would immediately have to take on a strong five.
This got to be the top 10 college football teams in the past 10 years. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm sorry, my nigga. I'm sorry, bro. We was nice.
Kansas State would once again choke out to a 28-10 lead before the Horned Frogs were able to fight back into it on the legs and arms of Duggan, who was just once again doing everything to try to keep them in it, picking up every yard he could, and not just overcoming the Wildcats, but eventually pulling out a 10-point win as their defense would completely shut down Kansas State in the second half. Now, things were going to start getting real as they took on West Virginia and Texas Tech. They were already ranked just outside of that top 4 at number 7, with many wondering, was this team seemed to be good but not really great, have what it takes to make it to the playoffs? Well, it appeared so, as they would go to a strong Texas team, and in just a pure gritty fashion, after ending the first half with a score of 3-0, fight and claw their way to another 1-score victory, where it shouldn't have been really that close had it not been for a very fluke fumble on a routine handoff, giving up a touchdown, as now it was clear that not only could TCU go and win shootouts, but they could get down in the dirt with these absolute grind fest of games usually only seen in the Big Ten West. And now, sitting at number 4, they would take on their rival, the Baylor Bears, who want to do nothing more than kick them out of playoff contention, and in brutal fashion. I'm talking about 5 lead changes in this game. It would end with an absolute thriller as they came on for the scramble drill field goal. Griffin Kell would nail the game-winning score as time expired, without being able to take his steps, as it was set in stone that they were going to the conference championship. So after they flicked the flea that was Iowa State off of them, they moved on to the championship, where everyone in the nation would sit down to fall in love.
Stop playing with us, bro.
Now this is the game he is known for, as through the first 3 quarters, things were about as bad as they had ever been, requiring them to overcome a 2-score deficit. But this one was different, because with 2 minutes left in the third, Duggan found Johnston on a deep ball, but got absolutely demolished. And it was clear that that was some serious pain he was trying to play through, as a couple plays later he would underthrow a pass into the end zone, giving the ball back to Kansas State, where Will Howard once again makes it a 2-score game. From here though, the Horned Frogs were dropping like flies. Guys were getting hit left and right. But Duggan would decide that if anything was going to happen, he would have to do it himself, taking the ball and pulling it, moving with his own legs, and being able to get into field goal range to bring them within 8 points. Now, in the final drive, we see more than ever his heart. He continuously calls his own name. Bro. He is getting absolutely thrashed, but he gets up and still goes. In between plays, we can see him completely gassed, out of breath, trying to find anything
stop
he
playing
can
with this man, like, bro. Stop playing with Matt Duggan like he ain't like that. Come on, bro. Come on, bro.
Come on, and in a pass play gone awry, he somehow finds a lane for 40 yards. The gas pedal is mashed, but the tank is on E, and my God, he just found a way. And not just that, but the very next play is another.
Bro, hustling, dog, hustling. Come on, stop playing with bro.
Their designed quarterback run where he finds the end zone, falling in, staying down, heart rate through the roof, doing it all himself as he desperately tries to catch his breath, so he can get back and complete the drive with a 2-point conversion where after finding Kelly in the end zone, he's on hands and knees, fighting to stay vertical as teammates help him off the field. It's moments like these that you never forget when you watch the game. You are watching somebody put it all on the line.
This is down a warrior right here. That's a warrior game. Like, come on, bro. Like, come on, dog. Come on,
very
bro.
last
Put the team on his
of energy
back. Come on now.
But in
Put the team on his
overtime,
back
he would get them to the
and
1-yard
ballin'.
line where they would get stopped at the goal line twice and lose the game. But everyone, K-State fans, TCU fans alike, if you watch this game, you say Duggan wanted it more than any other one person on the field. But ranked at 3 and receiving the loss, a nation held their breath, wondering what would happen. Bama wanted so badly to be put in above them. Michigan and Georgia were deadlocks for 1 and 2, but Ohio State and TCU snuck in as one-loss teams, with TCU being ranked at 3, having to take on Michigan. Or let's just say this, nobody expected TCU to win. They had no postseason playoff history. They continuously, all season, just snuck out wins against good teams, with none of those teams even being great, and none of them being even close to where Michigan was at, who wasn't just undefeated, but the two top 10 teams they played this year, they absolutely crushed with Ohio State and Penn State. So sitting at over a touchdown favorites, they would come out against TCU and get rocked. This was one of the most electrifying games of college football I've ever seen.
Bet on them bitch ass niggas, man.
Goliath moment, as from the jump, Michigan drove the length of the field, but on 4th and 2 would get stuffed. Even after an ensuing punt, McCarthy immediately throws a pick 6, and then Duggan led a 12-play, 75-yard drive where Michigan was held to just 2 field goals for the rest of the half, while TCU was able to find another touchdown on the board, shocking the world as the score at halftime was 21-6. Michigan would come back out, but the Horned Frogs were playing with their hair on fire, 2 weight classes above their own. They would match the Big Blue every step of the way. Duggan would throw a pick, guess what? Defense gets a pick 6. Heck, they fumbled it at the 27-yard line to set up an easy score to move them within 3 points. And in 3 plays, Duggan would find Johnson for a 76-yard touchdown to go back up 2 scores, where the Wolverines would just never recover. This team was rallying around Duggan, and it might be something we never see in a college football game again, where a group of relative nobodies would go on.
They ain't want it like we wanted it, bro. We wanted it. You know what I'm saying? They ain't want it like how we did. You feel me? Like come on, bro. Like, we really wanted it though. You feel me? Like they were just happy to be there. We really wanted it. You feel me? Like, come on, stop playing with us, bro. Stop playing with us, bro.
To do what nobody thought could be done. And although Max Duggan wouldn't have near the stats to be a Heisman candidate, anybody who watched TCU football every year was pushing their vote as hard as they could to get him in that position, because everybody knows that TCU would not have been there without his grit, without his guts, without his leadership. And unfortunately, what happened the next week was a grim awakening, a grand reminder that at the end of the day, TCU should not have been able to compete. They shouldn't have won out in the regular season. They definitely shouldn't have beat Michigan. And now this is what happens. But none of that, in my head, erases one of the most electrifying, the most amazing quarterback seasons in college football history.
Shout out Max Duggan, man. Shout out Max Duggan, man. Shout out Max Duggan, man. That boy was balling, man. Them boys couldn't fuck with us that year. We was nice. It was nice. We had that determination, that grit. You feel me? They ain't had that like how we had that. You feel me? They ain't had it like how we had that. That's how we got there, bro. Stop playing with us. Stop playing with the team. Stop playing with Max Duggan. He was him. You feel me? But I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video though. No bullshit.